Nomsa here at Ngosi Talk Shows, Find Your Own Voice, Lead from Within. So I'm on my own today, everyone, and everyone is taking a day off, as always. No show, my nose are like still recovering from flu, and but I'm here today, guys. So today the topic is all about a fear of failure, how it can sabotage our relationship. Is fear welcome? So before I go any further, is fear welcome in your heart? There's a song that if you go to my Facebook page, and we always sing the song in the choir, it says, fear is not welcome in my heart. Fear is not welcome in my heart. I'm casting it out by the power in your name. And every time when I sing this song, it always gives me this joy that the things that I fear sometimes, they don't matter in life. What matters is this beautiful life that I have. So I'm just the reason why I'm sharing this is just to understand, to have an understanding of what fear of failure can do to a person. And it's also for you to understand the link between fear of failure and the relationship. When you fear, you cannot have a happy relationship, even at work, even with your family, even with your spouse, your children. That's what fear does to people. And so today I'm going to cover a few things. I'm hoping that I'm gonna do 15 key points. If I don't do 15 key points, please forgive me. 1 hour is too short, but I'll try my best. So I'm going to talk about understanding the fear of failure, the link between the fear of failure and a relationship, signs of failure in a relationship, and overcoming fear of failure in a relationship, communication about fear of failure in a relationship. How do we communicate when we have fears in our relationship? Do we let things go on? Do we let our spouse believe that everything is okay while everything is not? Building trust and security. When you talk about your fears in your relationship, when you put your fears out there, it builds trust and security. Embracing vulnerability and imperfections. So you're showing your spouse that I am vulnerable. I am not perfect, but accept me for who I am with my imperfections. That's why we share our fears. That's why we share our vulnerability. Cultivating growth mindset in a relationship. Facing challenges together. So those are the things that I'm going to cover. Nurturing self-confidence and self-worth. Overcoming past failures and trauma. Fostering resilience in a relationship. Embracing failure as a learning opportunity, rebuilding, strengthening in a relationship, sustaining success and growth. I am hoping, guys, I'll be able to cover all these things in this short of time. But if we don't cover them, we can always come back, can we? And look into it. So understanding fear of failure, and psychologically, fear of failure it plays a really, really, really impasse in our relationship, and in our past experiences. So I'm going to examine our past experiences when I'm looking into understanding fear of failure, and I'm going to the past expectations, the society expectations, past experience, self-perception, on this topic, that on this understanding the fear of failure. Remember, that's the key points number 1. So as we go deeper of this fear of failure, I'm hoping that you guys, you have an understanding by the end of this. You have an understanding of the role of perfectionist in fear, and how it manifests in various aspects. And because sometimes when we want to be perfect, that means that there is something that we fear. Sometimes the people want to be perfect in everything they do because they fear of being judged. Or sometimes some people, they just love. They don't fear anything. They are fearless. They just want to work. They just want to put their work out there to be perfect. But sometimes some people, they are like, I have to be, before I can do this, I have to be, my work has to be, wow, it has to be amazing. That becomes a story. Procrastination, it becomes, it becomes a different story, and people never get to do what they want to do because they don't want to put their work out there. They're like, oh, one day I'd love to do Facebook Live, but I have to be perfect when I'm doing. But guess what? You cannot do Facebook Live if you can never done it before perfect. So you have to do it live and practice. So that's how things work. In order for that fear to go away, we have to talk about things. We have to reflect in our own experiences, speak to our spouse. Because if we don't speak to our spouse, what we fear, why we fear, do you really think our spouse are going to have a good relationship with us, or they are going to just worry about what is going on in our lives? And but if we actually express our feelings with our spouse, that's my phone, sorry guys, let me check if my volume is gone. Yes, it's gone completely. Yes, if we don't express our feelings, what we are feeling, what is going on in our relationship, then we're not going to have a good relationship with our spouse. But if we open up to our spouse and letting them know what is going on, our fears, and being vulnerable, then you will be able to actually, have a happy relationship. So what is fear? Fear is a base, is created, is a foundation that is created. It's a wall that has been created that can lead to individual failure. When you build a wall, it's a self-protection. These walls can become a barrier to genuine emotional intimacy. It can cause problems into a relationship if you don't share your problems with your spouse. If you fear your problems, but if you open up with your spouse, expressing your true self, expressing your fears, not being worried about being judged. There are some spouses that are very judgmental, but why would you be with somebody who's very judgmental in that relationship? So we are with our spouse because They are right for us. But if we are in a relationship and we cannot open up to our spouse, we cannot share our fears, why are we in that relationship in the first place? So the reason why we go on dating site, or some people, they meet their spouse in so many different ways. We go out, we meet these amazing people, we select them, we think this person is we know what, she makes me smile, she's everything, I want to marry her, I want to spend the rest of my life with her. And then you meet this beautiful man who is beautiful. Beauty comes from within, by the way. I'm not talking about the outer world. The beauty comes from within. His inner world is so beautiful, is so amazing. Her beauty, inner world is so amazing. Her outer world is so amazing. His outer world is so amazing. But then when it comes to expressing your fears, talking about your fears, then it becomes a problem. Then a problem that can sabotage a relationship. So why would you be with that person if you cannot open up, if you cannot be vulnerable to actually communicate about what is going on? Why would you fear being rejected? Some people fear because they don't want to be rejected. They don't want to be abandoned. That can drive an individual to withhold their authenticity, thoughts, and feelings, creating a sense of distance and connection within that relationship, emotionally, physically, intimacy. So those are the types that can affect a relationship. So how can you deal with these emotional woes that can arise from fear or failure, and how can you create the strategy to make sure that your relationship does not break down? Some people avoid vulnerability, the avoidance, they avoid being vulnerable. Vulnerability is the cornerstone of deep emotional connection. When somebody is being vulnerable to you, towards you, that is the cornerstone of building a relationship with somebody. So if you cannot be vulnerable with your spouse, if you feel that you cannot be vulnerable, some people, I'm not saying every person, when people are fearing failure, it means that they are scared or they don't have connection with their spouse. When we go through something, our minds can make things up. Even if our spouse can accept what is going on in that moment, our minds can make things up and make us believe that if we open up with our spouse, they are going to reject us, they are going to abandon us. However, the list goes on. So sometimes if I reveal, some people may say, if I reveal my true self, expressing my needs and my desires, that can result into disappointment, that can result into rejection. So the best way is for me to actually avoid and hinder any development or trust that can just prevent this relationship falling apart. So that's what sometimes our mind can make things up. So if you are somebody who is watching this talk show right now, in your relationship, what are you avoiding in your relationship? What fears are you avoiding in your relationship? Is there anything you're avoiding in your relationship? Is your mind made up his mind about your spouse, that if I tell my spouse this, my spouse is going to reject me, is going to abandon me? So how do we strain communication? Because communication is essential when it comes to healthy relationship. But that fear of failure can actually play a significant part in how individually express themselves. So how can we express ourselves in a relationship without fearing that, okay, if I say something, I'm going to be misunderstood. And if I'm being misunderstood, I'm going to have to deal with the unresolved conflicts, and I'm going to have a breakdown emotionally, and the connection is going to break. So how am I going to communicate this so I can actually overcome all this fear of failure, improve and have this quality of communication within my relationship? So how can you do that? So you can actually deal with anxiety. First, we need to understand performance anxiety. Performance anxiety is within a relationship. Whether it's fear of not meeting expectations in the bedroom or create immense pressure and stress. So performance anxiety can hinder sexual satisfaction. It can hinder emotional connection and overall relationship satisfaction. So what are the roots that causes that performance anxiety? And if you understand what fear can do, fear can destroy the foundation of relationship. It can create the performance anxiety. Performance anxiety, it means if I am fearing, I cannot communicate well in my relationship. If I am fearing, I cannot perform in the bedroom because of the anxiety that I fearing of abandonment. My mind has already made his mind up that if I communicate my fears, I am going to be rejected. That can affect a relationship in so many ways. And then a man or a woman will start comparing their relationship, where they will start comparing their spouse to the other person, and then comparing and jealousy. That can lead to actually people comparing themselves. They compare their relationship, the comparison of mindset that can spread insecurity. It can destroy trust. It can bring a toxic environment within the relationship. So it can all do that. So how do you actually, what is the link between the failure in a relationship? So the link between for everything that I have mentioned. So we can say the link between failure and relationship is trust and intimacy. So if the foundation of any successful relationship, it has a fear in it. So the vital element of a successful relationship, the foundation is to make sure that we get rid of fear. Men cannot fear if they are in a relationship. They cannot fear communicating with their spouse, regardless of how big the problem is. They cannot fear. They cannot fear. Regardless of whatever they are going through, they cannot fear. Even if the business is not going well, sit down with your spouse. What else can it get worse? That's why it's important to actually, I always say to women and men sometimes, I always say, if a man says, I'm looking for a rich woman, I always say it's fine to say you're looking for a rich woman. But you have to be prepared if you are looking for a rich woman for a long-term relationship. You have to be prepared that that rich woman, the money may not stay. She may not, things change. So you have to be somebody who is prepared for the change. When the change comes, it might not come. Nothing stays forever. If you are in poverty, you are in that season of poverty. So nothing stays forever. So that's why you see billionaires, they always create things, they always create extra ways to make income while they sleep, while they do this. They always make ways of making extra income. And the reason why they do that, they know that nothing stays forever, or even in the bank, they invest their money, they always buy shares, or they'll do different things to make sure that that money, it keeps growing. If somebody is worth 1 billion, they will try to make sure that they they have buy assets, or they do different things to make sure that their money stays, their money and their riches stays. It doesn't just stay there. Things change. So they'll always find ways. So if you are looking for a rich man or a rich woman, know that things might change. So would you stand by them if that rich goes? If they are facing problems financially, maybe, would you stand by them? So those are the things that I always actually put out there for my clients to say, yes, you can get anything you want in this world, but you have to be able to stand by that thing. Some people fear betrayal. Some people, they fear, going back to topic, trusting and intimacy. Some people, they fear individual gambling with, it can cause fear as well. Some people might have gambling problems, and then a fear can enter a relationship. Fear of rejection, lack of trust, lack of inhibit of deep intimacy. That can prevent a relationship reaching its potential, its full potential. If there is a lack in that relation, if there is lack of intimacy, so how can you rebuild trust and foster emotional closeness? Emotionally availability. You have to be emotionally available in your relationship. Emotionally, if you are not available, it can destroy your relationship with him. So it's important to actually make sure that emotionally you are available to your spouse. Make sure that the connection, you are connected to your spouse. How do you connect to your spouse? I always say, when you meet somebody, there's one thing you need to do. That person tells you a story, and then you relate to the story. They tell you a story about who they are, their values, their beliefs, what makes them the person that they are. They tell you the stories about their parents, their siblings. They tell you the stories about how, maybe, let's say, they have this high-end job, or they have this job that they have, how the job began. They tell you their journey of life, how they were able to create this life. And when they do that, the other person listens. He looks at this person's eyes, she looks at his eyes, and then she relates to that story, or he relates to that story. And then when he does relate to that story, he sympathizes with her, or she sympathizes with him. Then the connection is made. When the connection is made, the two worlds are now linked together. And then the other person falls in love with this person. He falls in love with she. She falls in love with she. They have this two worlds where they build the foundation. When that foundation is built, emotionally, they are connected. So when you are together with your spouse, that connection should not be broken. It should not be broken. It should not be broken because of trust. Trust your spouse. It should not be broken because you believe that you are not enough. Trust you're enough in unapologetic. The fact that the other person chose you, they selected you, that means that they know that you are enough. The fact that they chose to enter a relationship with you, it means they know that they want to spend the rest of their lives with this special person. Why would you fear when you enter a relationship? Why wouldn't you be vulnerable to them? Why would you show them your vulnerability in this world where you both created? That's how you show emotionally vulnerability, by staying connected to your spouse. Listen to their stories, relate to their stories, sympathize with your lover. It sounds like a beautiful story. It sounds like a very, very easy journey, but in between that is sympathizing, in between that relating to the story, in between that connection, there will be problems. That's when you need to forgive and forget. When you forgive your spouse in everything they do and forget about it, if you say to somebody, I forgive you that you forgot my birthday, that means you forgive them for real. And then so you can both stay connected to each other. So that's very, very important to actually to create a strong emotional bond. When you enter this, when two people in this world, when two people connect into this world that they create values, beliefs are connected, linked together, families are linked together, and the dreams are linked together, the desires, the beauty of life is connected together. That's when these two people, they are really bond, they are bound, they are together now. They can do anything they want because they've accepted each other's world. They are like having fun. But what happens when you start fearing that relationship, that means it can cause a disconnection. It can cause somebody to build a wall of protection that can lead to pain, that can lead to disappointment, that can lead to divorce, that can lead to every dream that was meant to be alive broken. It can leave somebody feeling that their lives has been taken away from them. But if you understand, stay connected emotionally, available to each other, then you can do anything together. You can conquer any problems in life. So that means you don't have to fear, because you know that in this world you've been accepted 100%. You know that, you know what, I married a proper wife. You know that I married a proper man. I didn't marry somebody because they married me because of my money. When that money runs out, or when you feel that, okay, let's say you feel that your job may be, you may be laid off, why would you fear going home? Tell your spouse, say, I think I might be laid off. Why would you fear if your spouse, they have vulnerable and showed you that, you know what, I want to be with you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I don't care where we live. I don't care how we live, but I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So why would you fear? Fear of failure. So that means this is where, when somebody fearing failure and they come and talk to you about it, they open up, openness, and that will need support. That person will need, is your spouse, they will need support and encouragement. They want to feel supported by their spouse, by their but fear sometimes can take over. People may not react how we expect them to react, and that can hurt the other person. So how do we solve that conflict when you don't get the reaction that you expect? When somebody, they express their feelings that, you know what, I fear that things might go wrong at work. So how if you're fearing, how do you approach this situation? I would love if somebody can just type it and just let me know how would they actually approach this and navigate this conflict if they're really fearing. And sometimes some people might avoid the conversation. That's how sometimes people may deal with it. Sometimes people may they may actually want to connect with you more when you tell them that, oh, you tell them about your fears. They might want to connect with you more and more. Some people might not take things very well. So that's where the shared and goals and dreams, it comes to place when it comes to relationship. A healthy relationship, it involves shared goals, shared dreams that can provide a sense of purpose in every relationship. It can provide a sense of direction. But if fear, it can hinder all that. Is fear welcome into your relationship? If fear is welcome into your relationship, type yes. If it's not welcome into your relationship, type no. If you want to cast it out, type it, I want to cast it out. I don't know who sang this song actually. Fear is not welcome. Fear is not welcome in my heart. I'm casting it out by the power in your name. Sometimes when a man or a woman wants to take a risk, they want to take risk by following their dreams. They may fear to tell their spouse that, honey, this is my desire, to follow my dreams. They might fear that, how is she Or is he going to react when I tell her that I want to follow my dreams? That can affect a relationship as well. But how do you cultivate a growth mindset and supporting each other through this journey of these following dreams? That's where the link between failure and the relationship intricate. It can affect a relationship big time. So my nose are blocked, and I just have to look at the comments as well. So that's where, so what are the signs of fear in a relationship? When somebody, the signs of fear in a relationship is when somebody is wanting to be really, really perfect. Some people in a relationship, they want to be perfect. And this world of perfectionist, it doesn't actually exist. Perfectionism, it doesn't exist in the real world. It exists in the dictionary. Perfectionism is the one prominent signs of fear of failure. It tend to towards perfectionism. So if individual is fearing something, they expect a high standard for themselves and their spouse. I don't date somebody that has expectations of high standard for me. So first we have to understand, why do you feel I have to have a high standard like yours? If you want to be perfect, it's fine. For me, I don't want to be perfect. And I don't want a stressful life. I don't want no anxiety. I want to live a happy life. So that's why I don't want to be perfect, even at work. I do my work really well, but at the same time, I'm aware that I'm not perfect. So when the other person wants to be perfect and the other person does not want to be perfect, it can affect the other person. And that's where now the avoidance of risk comes in. If the other person, they want to follow their dreams that their spouse, they've told their spouse when their relationship began, their dreams, they want to try things. Or sometimes somebody, maybe they're in a job and they want to try promotion. And the person will be like, no, why would you want to be promoted? You're comfortable where you are. Why would you want to go up? And the person will be like, no, I just want to try. I feel like there's more to me than I can offer. So I want to get this promotion. And then this other person will be bringing that person down to say, and then that person, they hesitate to step outside their comfort zone, fearing trying new things, because they believe that they wouldn't get the good results if they try, because of failure of rejection. And if they tell their spouse, they continue communicating with their spouse, they might not get what they want. So then they are like, oh, avoidance, they start avoiding each other, and then it destroys the relationship. And then sometimes it could be self-sabotage. When people self-sabotage themselves, is because they fear behavior within that relationship that undermine their own success and happiness. Consciously or unconsciously, out of fear, they fear because they believe that they cannot achieve or they cannot maintain that relationship, they cannot fulfill that relationship beyond their reach. And then they will start sabotaging. Or sometimes somebody will be like, do you think I'm enough in this person because of fear? And instead of manifesting for their relationship to actually be a beautiful relationship, be fulfilled, they will start sabotaging that relationship, pushing away their supportive partner, creating conflict, engaging in destructive you name it, patterns that can sabotage whatever the really good foundation that they have created. And then what is the strategy? The good strategy is to avoid the excessive need for validation. Avoid that. Some people, they seek validation. If you want to create a good strategy that can work in a relationship, avoid validation, seeking reassurance, approval from your spouse. When they don't validate the person that you are becoming, then you feel that, wow, life is a burden. This relationship is a burden. Maybe they are blind. Maybe they don't see what you see. But they love you anyway because they don't see what you see. And then you start fearing failure. But then how do you cultivate self-confidence and stop comparing your relationship with somebody else? You need to self-reflect, and awareness is important to actually live a fulfilling relationship. That is the first step to overcoming fear in your relationship. Self-reflect on who you're becoming. Be aware of that present moment. Take time to explore, where does this roots of fear, how did it begin? Did it begin before I met this person? Is this a pattern, or is it something that is triggering it? What is triggering it? Sometimes it's spouse that are triggering it. The words that is our spouses say to us can trigger that fear. Explore. Is it from the past experience? Is it from the society? What's the underlying problems that is causing this fear? And then you begin to challenge it. Reframe your mindset. When you reframe your mindset, engage in introspection, journaling, or therapy, or gaining actually a deeper insight of these roots of fears, and just when you journal things, or maybe asking questions, when you journaling and asking questions within, you get answers sometimes. And then also, number 2 is embracing imperfection. We want to be perfect in everything that we do in life, but I'm afraid it doesn't work like that. But if I can embrace my imperfection, then I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about anything. If I'm a man or a woman, I'm in a relationship. If I am expected to be perfect, and my character agrees with my spouse that yes, I'm perfect, then that means I am going to worry. But if I am dating my spouse and I'm embracing the person that I am, I'm showing them that I'm embracing my imperfection, honey. I'm not perfect. I recognize my mistakes as a woman. I recognize my mistakes as a man. And sometimes I can have setbacks. It's okay. And sometimes I want to grow. And sometimes I don't want to fail, because fail, or sometimes I don't mind failing, because the failing is not about failing, it's me learning something from it. And I don't want to compare my life with anybody else. I'm going to cultivate self-compassion, practice self-forgiveness. If I feel that there is a place where I have not treated myself well, I'm going to practice self-forgiveness to create healthier, more accepting mindset to foster personal and relational growth in my life. So if you are somebody who is expected to be perfect, then you end up living fear in that relationship. Do you believe that that relationship is real? Because I'm sure it's unhealthy. Setting realistic expectations is very crucial for overcoming fear and failure. What does your spouse expect you to be? When you are in a relationship, sometimes every now and then evaluate your expectations. Ask yourself, are they realistic, or are they attainable, or are they just expectations, or you're just expecting, or these expectations, do they actually align with your reality? Or are they healthy? Do they balance with the person that you want to become? Or sometimes we just put the expectations out there, and those expectations, they end up putting that fear. Okay, my spouse expects me to do this, but if I don't do this, I don't think she's gonna want to be with me. So why would you be with somebody that gives you ultimatum? If you don't become this, I don't think I'm gonna be with you. If you are not this, I don't think I'm going to be with you. I thought a relationship is all about love. So it's important to actually be in a relationship where fear is there, be aware of it, but to be able to communicate that fear with your spouse. Be able to, if you have challenges with negative self-talk, be somebody that can actually talk to your spouse so you can cultivate a growth mindset together. That is the critical component in overcoming fear in your life. Embrace your beliefs. Know that fear is not permanent. If there is something that brings fear in your life, it's normal. But as long as you understand that it is not permanent, I'm going to talk to my spouse. They're gonna help me to conquer this, because when it comes to life, beliefs can bring fear. There are some things that can bring failure. Sometimes our beliefs can, because we want them to, but instead of us embracing the beliefs that failure is not permanent, but an opportunity for growth and learning. It's not permanent. View your challenges in life as a stepping stone towards personal relational. And don't be afraid to take risk. Approach setbacks as valuable lesson rather than indicators of personal, oh, I'm not worthy, you know what, why am I keep having setbacks? And some people, they are just living of it. People telling me that, why am I the one that keeps suffering? Why am I the one that has to go through pain? Why am I the one that has to go through this, he has to go through that? But guess what? In life, in one moment of time, each and individually, they will go through pain once. So that's life. But they're not going to stay down when they go through that pain. If you're in a relationship, I always say to myself, if I'm dating somebody and that relationship, whenever there is a problem and that relationship doesn't last, that means that relationship was never there in the first place. Because if it was a true one, problems should bring you closer together. Fear together that is shared by two people, it should bring you together, closer together. But if it doesn't, that means that relationship never existed. I don't know. That's just me. You have to be open and honest. Communicating is vital in a relationship, especially when addressing sensitive topics like fear or failure. I talk about fears, my fears about my business. Sometimes there are times where I don't know how to begin when it comes to life. My website has not been working for 4 weeks. Maybe over 4 weeks now. But that means I'm losing business. It's being fixed. It might go live this week or next week, I don't know. It's up to the web designer to see whether it's ready. But do I fear of failure? No, I don't. The reason why I don't fear is because I've gone through so much pain in my life. I've gone through so much pain where I can tell you that I am where I am today because of the experiences of my life. So the website not being working and me fearing losing money, I know God is in control. I know there is a lesson that I have to learn in order for me to go to the next level. I need to learn the challenges that are being brought to as a businesswoman. What are the challenges that comes with this? So when you are in a relationship and you fear something, you have to know that relationship comes with challenges. It does not come just, okay, a man meets a beautiful woman. A woman meets a beautiful man. They bond together, they get married, and then they live happily ever after. It does not work like that. A relationship comes with its own challenges. And believe me when I say this, the challenges that comes within a relationship, your friends' challenges, they're not going to be yours. Yours are going to be different. So it's very, very important not to compare your relationship with somebody else, because we all face different challenges. I am facing different, I have a business. I am facing different challenges in my business, but somebody else is facing different ones. So I could easily compare my life with somebody else, not knowing what they are going through. But the reason why I know that whatever is going on when it comes to life, I know that I'm not failing. I know that when the website goes live, I know that my business will carry on. So I could easily fear. I could easily say, oh, you know what, I'm not going live today because I don't feel too good. I have a stinking flu, but I'm just coming here to do live. Maybe sometimes maybe you guys can't hear me because my nose are bunged up. But I guess what? Carol Ann said, no, sir, I'm not going to be here today. I'm away. But I said, okay, on my own, I'm just going to go and do live. It's another challenge, but is it fear? If I knew that I couldn't actually come and do live, I wouldn't fear of the audience not seeing me live. I just put a message and say, guys, I'll see you maybe tomorrow. Because today, I can't be do live because I'm not well. But I just went, okay, if my nose allow me or my flu allows me to go live, I will go live. I just have to trust. I just have to, I don't have to fear anything. But I never used to be like that. I never used to see fear as like, I'm actually, when I'm fearing, I'm building a wall in my life, a wall that can cause the limitations, a wall that can cause stagnation. That's what relationship is about. When you are in a relationship with somebody, if somebody says, you know what, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, why not spend that rest of your life in a happy relationship? Of course, you're going to fight. It's normal to fight. You can do a wrestling match. Even the wrestlers, they wrestle, after that, they give each other hugs. Thank you for the fight. So you are allowed to argue, but you don't have to fear alone. You have to be vulnerable. Mostly is men. Men believes that they cannot be vulnerable because they have to be strong. And if I was to date a man that tells me that they have to be strong, I wouldn't want the men that I date. They suffer anxiety, depression without me knowing. That wouldn't be fair. If somebody fears the finances, may I take action? You tell me your fears. I look at the finances. I had to downgrade. There were times where I had to downgrade my life because my spouse raises his concern. He raises his concern, and I'm like, okay, you raise your concern to me, then we're gonna downgrade life. That's what life is about. If finances, things not going well, what's the point in living in a big mansion if you're going to get stressed and die and people start fighting for it? What's the point? I'm just saying, if somebody can type and tell me, no, sir, there is a point here, live in a big mansion. Let's say you live in a 10-bedroom house, a big swimming pool, and you're not happy, you feel that you could do better with finances, you worry about finances, and that stress kills you. And then your family members, they start fighting for that money. You're on the grave. They're fighting for that house. It's cost millions. They're fighting for it, and you're no longer there. Does that make sense? It doesn't. So the best way is somebody's worried about finances is easy. Downgrade. Live in a 10 million house, 5 million or 2 million. That's still enough. Can't be greedy. That's enough for me. And if work-wise, you believe that things are not working well, upgrade some skills. Instead of worry, speak to your spouse. But sometimes it can be really, really difficult when you have a spouse that it does not get the meaning of growth, mindset growth. So that's why it's very, very important to actually date people that if you are educated, date a woman that understands what it means to be educated. Date a man that knows what it means to educate yourself. When I'm talking about education here, I'm not talking about degrees. I'm not talking about anything big. I'm talking about just going to college, online courses. Let's say now the economy is really bad. But if you go on Google, you can find the free courses. You can learn those courses step by step. I built my business myself. Trust me, yes, I did. I went and learned the courses on Google. I've learned how to do marketing. I didn't do marketing for my business, but I needed to hire somebody who knows more about marketing so they don't con me. So when they talk about what they are going to do for me, so I know what they're talking about. The courses are free. Facebook, they offer free courses. If you go to the Meta Business pages, the part of facebook.com for business, they have courses for free where you can learn and actually do proper marketing. They provide those courses for free. You can learn. And I'm talking about just skills, upgrading your skills. You don't have to have a degree to become a billionaire. You can just learn the skills. So that's what I'm talking about. You have to be a man that is willing. If you worry, okay, I'm not sure if this work is very stressful. I'm not sure if this is where I need to stay. Instead of worrying, fearing, how am I going to support my children? While you go to work, finish work, come home, go online, learn your skills. When you learn your skills, upgrade yourself. You will learn your skills, of course, your knowledge, your mindset is going to be different. That means you can actually apply, get promotion, so you can support your children. Or if you are a woman, worrying about maybe man is earning less money and you have children at home, you can actually do something. But you can do something. You can sell. You can sell. I'm not sure if you... Hold on a minute. I'm not sure. I think there's somebody. Yes, come in. Okay. Delivery. Yes. So if you're a man or a woman, you can sell something. Or if you're a woman at home, you can sell something, and that you can start something small, a business. Let's sell something, and then change. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about, unless if you have a spouse that does not allow you to grow. You don't have to fear on your own. If you fear something, share it with your spouse, and they help you to grow. Some people, when they have children, they worry about, now I'm a housewife, or I used to work, will we be able to support each other? Will we be able, for me, to be honest with you, I accept that the moment, when I'm in that moment, I am so grateful of my life. Every moment, every step that I take in life, where God takes me, if He takes me to a place where I have to cut down my finances, I'm so grateful. The reason why I'm so grateful is I'm so grateful for the experiences, because through that experience, I'm learning something. I've never ever used to be like that. I would be moping it. I used to be like, why do I have to go through this pain? Why do I have to be the one that is suffering? Why other people are celebrating? By the time I got to learn the game of life, I realized actually people are suffering. Everybody has something that they are suffering with. So if I'm going through that moment, in that moment, I have to be grateful that I'm alive. I have a good health. That's what I need to be grateful of. I don't need to worry about my finances being what, like right now, my website is not working. So I don't have to worry about what will be tomorrow, because it's given me a chance of reflecting on what's on my website. Exactly. What did I put on my website? The content that is on my website when I began my business. So it's made me realize actually when I wrote this business, my only focus was to write a professional content for my website. But instead of finding my own voice, I found a voice of a matchmaker. But I neglected my own voice of how does Nomsa, as a love harmonist, as a matchmaker, how does she speak? How does she send a message across? So those are the things that instead of fearing what about the business, is brought a reflection, a self-reflection about who Nomsa is. Who does Nomsa really wants to put herself out there as? I realize actually I am a child of God. I love God in my life. God he is the person that I am today. But I never mentioned him in my content. So that's why I was like, okay, website, working. I think I glorify God. So now I get the opportunity to actually write the content that actually speaking my voice. I don't get to write a professional content that somebody will read, Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency. What does Hope Spring Eternal Introductions offer? Or is a personalized service that can be tailored to your own needs. I can speak my own language. Come on, guys. So those are the things that I spend time reflecting instead of fearing of losing business. I'm reflecting of my life. I'm reflecting of this is the person that I am, and what does my website tell people. My website, I even go actually, somebody had handed me from a matchmaking institute. They trained me because they had handed me on the website. My content was so well written because I made sure that it was so professional, but my voice wasn't there. But now if you come on my website, you can actually enter and say, no, this is not where I need to be. I don't believe in God. So that's how my content is about now. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in science. When it comes to relationship, you can make that choice now and say, okay, she's one of those who believes in him. But before, it was just me, my voice, and just putting myself out there. But then in my website, when my website didn't work, first week I was like, oh, okay, what am I going to do with this? How am I going to try to get the designers designing the website. The actual website, my website works. But there were problems with the people that built the website and the person that introduced me to the website. My website is professional built, but it had to be put down due to problems. So I accepted it. I was like, okay, if that's why you're putting the website down, then that's fine. And then they were like, okay, before we put the website up, because we don't know when this battle is going to end. So we're going to build you a different website. So I'm not paying for the new website. So when this guy was like offering to build a new website for free, I was like, okay, that's Desmond O'Connor. He's a very nice guy, he's my coach. So I was like, okay, that's fine. But through that reflection, if I was in a second where I had to worry about failure, I don't think I would have had a chance to think about my voice. But then I said, okay, the website is not working. Maybe it's time that I actually think about my voice, who Nomsa is. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to write my own words, my own voice, not what I'm expected to be. I don't want to write in a way that I'm expected to be. I want to write in a way that I am supposed to be. This is the person that I am supposed to be. So I decided to write my content how I need to write it. And then after I'm realizing, okay, this is the content that I'm writing, okay, content is fine. Now I only provide matchmaking only. Coaching, I provide coaching, but through the service, through somebody joining the agency. But why can't I just add my coaching as another service? So now I can add that, but before it would have cost me loads of money to rebuild the website, maybe £10,000. So Daisy saved me £10,000. But if I was like, you know what, feeling sorry for myself, I'm scared of failure, it would have taken all the hindering my success. So now I've decided I'm going to do the little things that I wanted to do before, but I've never had the chance to do them. So I'm adding all these little things and making the big difference that I would take for granted in life. So that's what I'm doing. So the reason why I'm sharing this is if you are somebody who is fearing in a relationship, fearing failure, why instead of fearing that failure, why don't you replace it with cultivating growth? Look at your life, evaluate your life. Okay, this is the job that I'm doing, but there's fear in this job. What if I add this certificate in my job? What difference will it make? What if I add that in my job? Okay, this is the company. Okay, I want to support my children. I want to do this for my children. But what if I add this to the company? What if I change that to the company to make a difference? That's why it's important. When it comes to marriage, we need to marry the people that a man is a provider. We need to marry a man who is a provider. We need to marry a woman that is a provider. A woman provides for her family. She provides for her family she might be a housewife, but she's still a provider because she still has to make sure the children are looked after. So she might be a woman who works. She's still a provider. So in either way, a woman will always be a provider. Whatever position she is, she's a provider and she's amazing. A man is an architect. A man has to have a vision. When it comes to his family, he has to have a vision. A woman she's a mentor. She has to mentor him. Their vision, both has to be linked together. They have to come to reality. But it is the woman that mentors her man to bring his vision to reality by making sure that she does not talk him out of his dreams. She mentors him. He comes home and tells him, honey, I think I have an idea. She takes a pen and paper. Okay, tell me, what's the idea? She writes it down. But men, never ever tell a woman about your dream if you know you don't mean it, because they will hold you accountable. A woman will never forget what you tell her. If you are a lazy man and then you try to attract a woman by lying to them, they will never forget. So if you are a man who is a cultivator, bring your dreams. Tell a good woman, because you married this woman, because you said to this woman, she's the woman of your dreams. If she's the woman of your dreams, that means she mentors you to be the man of who you're meant to become. So you pitch your ideas. She takes a pen and she writes it down. And then when you are at work, she uses her brain. Women are smart. How are we going to make this vision come to pass? She comes home, a man comes home, honey, woman will remind you, have you had a thought more about the dream that you told me? And the man will be like, oh yes, I have. And then she takes a pen. Then one day she calls a meeting and says, honey, I think it's time now. Man goes, time for what? It's time for the dream to come to reality. She doesn't fear. She doesn't fear mistakes. She knows the inside she fears, but outside her outer world, it says, honey, I'm going to support you. Regardless of what I'm feeling right now, I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know where we are going, but all I can do is support this dream for us to see where it takes us. She supports her man. That's why she's called a mentor. She does not talk a man out of his dreams. She does not tell her man that he is not good enough, because she's a mentor. So it's important when you marry somebody, when you enter a relationship, make sure you're entering a relationship with a woman who has a mindset of a mentor. A successful man has a good woman behind him. It's either is their mother, their sister, their friend, or their ex. Some men, you find them, they're successful because they were married to a clever woman, but things didn't work. So in order for that wealth to continue, the woman that enters his life, they have to continue mentoring him to become who he is meant to become. So if you are in a relationship, you fear failure, and you're scared of telling the woman that loves you with all her heart, or if you are a woman who is married to a man, or you are in a relationship with a man, you fear failure, but you don't express it. Fear is meant to be shared. It's meant to be shared. I'm gonna have to go now, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, Gossip Talk Shows on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. And if you're watching on Facebook, go to Gossip Talk Shows page, like our page. We have a Gossip Talk Shows group. We'd like you to join us in the group and be part of the family. We share videos. We're here 1 p.m. UK time. Sometimes I'm on my own. Sometimes I have other coaches, like tomorrow, I have other coaches with me. So Wednesday, I might be on my own or I might be with other coaches. So the days are different, but it's just to make sure you guys, if my children are not acting, I'm here. But if my children are filming, that means I'm not here. But at the moment, I'm here. My daughter finishes school on Friday. So that means I'm here and they are not booked. So I'm here. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. UK time. God bless. Live with grace.